All right, first off, a huge thank you to the volunteers for delivering the food kits tonight. Be sure to leave yourself an hour, maybe an hour and a half to, probably an hour and a half to get this meal ready, and set aside these items first to make it easier for you. You're gonna need a medium-sized saute pan, a large saute pan, a set of tongs, a whisk, and a rubber spatula, a colander or strainer, and then a couple of pots. One has to be able to fit your corn in it, and the other one's for boiling your pasta. All right, you're going to start by butchering your boneless pork butt. Remove any excess fat, and we can trim some lines into the fat so it can absorb the dry rub a little bit better. Check the back for any stray bones, cartilage. And make our dry rub with some salt, granulated garlic, some black pepper, a little paprika, and a little smoked paprika. And I'm actually just kidding about all this. This would take you way too much time. You'd have to roast this thing like for 4 or 5 hours, and that's an awful lot of meat to deal with. I actually did all of this ahead of time for you and have fully cooked your pork. It is ready to go in a Ziploc bag, and all you're going to have to do is reheat it. But you will be making the macaroni and cheese that goes with it, and the corn. All right, get a pot of water on to boil. This is going to be for your pasta. I'm going to review what we got in the bag here. Got your cheeses, your pulled pork. May look a little different than the one that you get at your house. It's a practice batch. A couple of pieces of butter, some milk, your pasta, corn, and a couple pans to cook in, some flour, some panko breadcrumbs with a little bit of seasoning in it. So we're going to start by emptying out our pork, and you're going to want to use the pork and whatever liquid is in the bag. Just break it up, spread it into an even layer, and we're going to bake this. So be careful of the edges of the top of the pan. They can be sharp. Don't run your fingers across them. So into a cold oven at 350 degrees. So you don't need to preheat. Cold oven, 350. Going to take our corn, get that cleaned up, remove any of the silk, get it into a pot, and we're going to cover them with water and then get them on the stove. We can add a little seasoning to the corn, a little salt, and some salt in our water for the pasta. Once you've come to a full boil, add your pasta, and we're going to cook for 6 minutes. In your small saute pan, we're going to melt one of the pieces of butter. Going to get a little brown around the edges. That'd be perfect. Shut off the heat. We're going to stir in our breadcrumb mixture. And we'll just set that aside. By now we should be draining our pasta 6 minutes later. And in our large pan, we're going to melt the other piece of butter. And once it's fully melted, we're going to add our flour, and we're not getting the butter brown this time. We're trying to keep it just melted. This is low heat, low to medium heat, and we're going to keep mixing it. We want less lumps and to cook the flour a little bit. Start adding our cold milk, and you'll see there'll be lumps at the beginning, but you keep stirring and stirring. And as we keep adding all 3 cartons of milk, the lumps will slowly go away. So at the very end of this, we want to make sure that it actually comes back up to a good simmer. And the way that you can see that is you want to see some bubbles happening in the middle of the pan. And of course, we're always stirring, being sure not to let it stick and burn on the bottom. So you can see those bubbles around the edges, and there they are in the middle of the pan. So we're done. Shut the heat off, add our cheeses, switch to the rubber spatula. Give it a little bit of a mix, not too much because the cheese is going to start getting stringy, hard to deal with. But we're going to throw our pasta into the pan. Add our cheese sauce. And then mix it up. Top it with our breadcrumbs. And then this is going into the oven with our pulled pork. And now is a good time that we can look at the pulled pork, check on its temperature, and we can remove the cover. And hopefully that will help get it a little browner on top and get the barbecue sauce a little browned. And we're going to give it another 15 minutes here. So 15 minutes later, our corn is definitely done. We're going to check our temperature on our pork. It needs to come back to 165 degrees. Obviously we made it to 186 here, so we're good to go. And it should really be falling apart. That's it, guys. Enjoy your dinner, and I'll see you all at the Zoom meeting later.